Hi, everybody. This is Dan Stolbarger, and welcome to our weekly Middle East update. It's May 1st, and we're going to look back on this last week of what's transpired in Israel. It's been quite a week. It wasn't that long ago, on April 24th, that all of Israel paused. It's Yom HaShoah. It's the Holocaust Memorial Day. When the sirens blast, cars pull over, people get out of their cars, they stand in silence. It is a time of remembering, never forgetting the 6 million that were murdered and killed in the Holocaust. But this year has a flip side to that as well, because this is a time of remembrance of October 7th, 2023 as well. All of Israel comes to a halt to remember. But then, following Yom HaShoah, we have Israel's Memorial Day, which was on April 29th. And you can see in the slide here that this is Mount Herzl. And Sharon and I have had the opportunity to be here. And I remember walking through this complex, and I was looking for Yanni Netanyahu's grave, the hero of the raid of Entebbe, Bibi Netanyahu's brother. And I was expecting something elaborate, and in the midst of all of this was his grave. And you'll notice, whether you were a buck private or whether you were the top echelon, all the graves are the same. And this is a time that Israel would go, and everybody in Israel knows somebody that was a fallen soldier. And so this is that day of memorial for those that have given their lives for the nation of Israel. And again, the emotions of both the Holocaust, Yom HaShoah, and Israel Memorial Day today marks, you go from somber remembering to the time of great celebration. For today is Israel's Independence Day, which is Israel turns 77. Amazing to think about. So you go from this sober time of reflection to a time of great celebration. However, this year, due to the fact that Israel is at war with 7 different fronts, and I guess you can say now 8, Hamas has done their best to quelch the celebrations in Israel with fires that have been basically another front. Arsons, fires. Israel's probably, the Jerusalem fire chief basically said this could possibly be the greatest fire that the nation of Israel has ever experienced. And that is still going on at the time of this report. So as you know, we usually begin with our news bites, and we'll pop kind of all over the place. So let's start in. Again, there's is the PDF slide. You can get this on the YouTube site. I'll always include the PDF notes. You can click it, you can have that. But let's take a look. Again, news bites, Qatar. So Qatar wants to be seen as the negotiator of the peace between Hamas and Israel. They've pressured Hamas not to accept the latest Egyptian hostage deal. They've basically said, it's not good enough for you. Hold out, you'll get a better one. So to think that Qatar is a friend of Israel, don't think that. Don't think that. They're more of a friend of Hamas. And so again, what was put on the table about a 5-year ceasefire and the release of all the hostages, Qatar has basically told Hamas, you can get a better deal. Carolyn Glick, friend of Holy Ground. We've followed Carolyn for many years. She will Tell it like it is. So here you go. The point of Zionism is to prevent the eradication of Jewish people at the hands of anti-Semites. We are done making excuses for people who want to kill our children. Bottom line. And then Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders, God bless her. She has signed legislation requiring all state agencies in Arkansas to use Judea and Samaria instead of the West Bank. Thank you, Sarah. And then, as I mentioned, it's Israel's Independence Day. And in 1948, there were 880,000 Jews in the homeland. And today, just yesterday, I saw the report that the population of Israeli Jews just passed 10 million today. Wow. Wow. And then back to the fires. As I mentioned, the Jerusalem fire chief has said that it could be the largest in Israel's history. Over 10,000 Israelis have now been evacuated from the wildfires. And you'll see on this slide, not a natural occurrence at all. This is arson. Notice on the map, the area that once was called the West Bank, now we refer to it as Judea and Samaria, where the big question marks are Nablus, Ramallah, Jenin, Hebron, no fires. But now look on the other side. Netanya, Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, Ashdod, the Sderot area, fires, arson. Arson, make no mistake about it, to quench the celebration of the Israelis' Independence Day. The update is that the Shin Bet believes that the arsonists operated in teams of 2 to 3 to set the fires, again, in order to ruin Independence Day. They wanted to cause as much damage as possible. We know this is not a natural occurrence because the fires burned from the trunk of the trees up instead of from the leaves down. Over 5,000 acres have been burned, and still at this moment there are many fire crews that are still active. And then, as I said, these are the articles that we are covering this week, so we're kind of hopping around. Palestinian Authority, the question is going to be what's going to happen on the day after. And the Palestinian Authority wants to prop up their, I guess, how people look at them. They want to be seen as moderates. Make no mistake about it, Mahmoud Abbas is not a moderate. He has elevated Hussein Al-Sheikh as sort of a vice president of the Palestinian Authority. The international community sometimes looks at him as more of sort of a moderate, but our friends at the Palestinian Media Watch, Itamar Marcus in particular, has been reporting that his statements and activities reveal complete support for terrorism, the glorification of terrorists, the promotion of terrorism through the pay for slay, and the support for unity with Hamas even after the October 7th debacle, devastation. So whether this was an attempt by Abbas to name a successor that would be able to kind of revitalize the view of the Palestinian Authority by the international community, don't make a mistake and assume that. This is no moderate. And then, as I mentioned, Itamar Marcus, in an interview just recently, when the Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu stated crystal clear that the day after in Gaza will not be ruled by the Palestinian Authority. He was asked in the interview, do you agree with that? And he says, absolutely. And then he goes on, and he says, the Palestinian Authority promotes terror. before the fact. They deny Israel's right to exist after the fact. They reward terrorists. They glorify terrorists. They name schools after terrorists. Everything about the Palestinian Authority is terrorist. So to say they shouldn't rule in Gaza is an understatement. They shouldn't be ruling anywhere. Crystal clear? Case closed. John Hagee, a Christian Zionist, he's, I'm actually going to get to John in just a second. This is a view from inside of Israel, of what's happening there. So the reports that we get from our sources in Israel sometimes paint a little different picture than the outside sources that we have from different media. So this is a glimpse from the inside. They look at Saudi Arabia and they think there's a number of things that are amazing that a number of years ago would have thought would have been impossible. When it comes to the Saudis, they're close. It's doable that there will be a normalization deal. But when you look at Gaza, they believe that Gaza essentially on the day after will probably be sectioned off into different regions. The north will probably be taken over completely by Israel. The south and the center will probably be run by the IDF. And, how the U.S. and the Trump plan fits dealing with the thousands of Palestinians. How will they be? Will the gates of other countries be open for them? It's hard to know at this point in time. But the revitalization, the rebuilding of Gaza, you're looking at 15 to 20 years in that process. But from the inside, the truth is the head of the snake, the head of the anti-Israel snake is Iran. And what's going on with these negotiations, these nuclear negotiations with the U.S. is a concern. Again, from the inside, it states the goal should be to both weaken Iran's capabilities, to weaken the hold of power by the Ayatollahs. This will require a sustained effort to pressure and not compromise with Iran. Bibi will play ball with Donald Trump on nearly every issue, but on Iran, even Bibi knows that he may be forced to part ways if the Trump administration is being foolhardy. Think about it. Okay, Hagee, John Hagee, Christian Zionist, Christians United for Israel, the leader of all of that, the originator. His comments: America's capitulation to Iran a decade ago broke our promise to never again abandon the Jewish people, Hagee said. As a result, the Iranian government has played multiple administrations from America like a fiddle. And that's what he sees happening right now. He goes on to say Hamas is the ones that killed any possibility for a two-state solution. They did that on October 7th. And in his views, he says it's grounded in his faith that the Bible has a solution to all of this. It's called a one-state solution. Israel today, Israel tomorrow, and Israel forever. John Hagee. And then as we wrap up, the Israeli Air Force has dropped these shekels, these 20 shekel bills attached to an active SIM card, again in hopes to recruit locals that would be willing to provide any kind of intelligence on the hostage issue in Gaza. The hostages are a great concern for Israel, no matter what you might be reading these days. And then we have an event that we're hosting up here with Amir Tsarfati, our July 1st event, completely sold out. And so we've opened a second opportunity on July 2nd at a different venue. And I'm going to tell you, if you're in the area, if you're a local, if you want to see this, you need to get your tickets now, because this will sell out as well. And there's the link for that, Holy Ground Explorations. You can go there and get your tickets. I'm sure by the time next week's Middle East update, this won't be offered because it will sell out. So get your tickets right away. And then finally, Sharon and I are offering, Holy Ground is going to offer one last official tour. Sharon and I have done over 50 tours to Israel. We've sort of cobbled the concepts that we've done together, and we're really happy with what we have to offer. We call it The Land, the People, and the King. It will be from October 30th to November 9th. All the information's on our website. Again, we want people to experience the land. Those black and white words, those onion skins on your Bible turn into living color because the land speaks. But we don't want to just end with that. We want you to meet the people of Israel. Today, Israel doesn't just need visitors, they need friends that will not be ashamed to make the statement that they stand with Israel, because God is not finished with the Jewish people. And while we're in Israel, we've got to worship the King. So we call it The Land, the People, and the King. This trip is filling up. I'm going to encourage you to go to our website. If you're interested, please join us for this. It's going to be an incredible opportunity to be in Israel. So again, all the information on our website. So that's our report for this week. Until next week, pray for the peace of Jerusalem. I wish you God's shalom, and remember the hostages. Amen.